Hi, Wonder Hussy here, and today I'm in Spindletop, Texas, or I guess at Spindletop. It's near Beaumont, Texas, and it's the site of the first big oil strike in the United States. Back in 1901, they drilled about 1,000 yards down, or maybe it was 1,000 feet. Anyways, just past 1,000, they hit this reading the description of it, sounds like when you pop a really gross zit. They hit this huge load of oil and it came blasting out the top for like 100 feet in the air, and they couldn't even cap it off for something like 8 days. Something like 80,000 gallons of oil just blew out of the ground. So then, of course, it became like this crazy Wild West Boomtown where everybody came to town to try to make some money off of the oil boom, right? It was a boom town with brothels and saloons and the whole thing, just like the old Wild West days, but it was in the early 1900s. It's a really interesting museum they have here. It's on the campus of Lamar University, but they've recreated what the original old-timey Spindletop boomtown might have looked like, and it's really fun to poke around inside some of these buildings. Here's the barber shop. I mean, this was what these old-timey barber shops look like. Look how creepy this is. I was reading the information there, and I mean, this became such a boomtown here that there wasn't even enough hotel rooms for people to sleep in, so guys would just sleep in the barber shop with like a suitcase full of cash that they had earned bolted to their leg. Or some people would take the train back to Houston overnight and then just ride it straight back so they could sleep on the train. There just wasn't enough places for people to stay. But meanwhile, when they were out here, I guess the guy who discovered the Spindletop in the first place, this guy, Patillo Higgins, he only had one arm, so he always had to go get a shave. And that was part of the deal here. The old barbershop. Look at this. That's actually a dental chair. It says teeth pulled quickly. I'm guessing you sat in that thing and that kind of bolted you down and you grabbed those two handles because of the pain. I mean, I can't think of anything worse. These people were hardcore in those days. And then check this. All the old-timey barber supplies, and then there's this little thing about hair singeing, which I never heard of, but it's where they burn stray hairs off. It's supposed to be a better way to get a closer shave, because instead of actually having to cut the hair, it just melts off. Yikes. I think this is the Saloon. Let's check that out. Oh, look. Pabst beer on tap, exclusively at Spindletop. We serve a driller's lunch. Oh, look at that. They have the old-timey saloon doors, but they're not actually usable. It says push. Let's see. Oh, wow, look, the old saloon. This is so cool. Please don't spit on the floor. I guarantee these oil roughnecks were spitting all over the place. I mean, look at these dudes. You want to talk about some bad hombres. Look at these badass guys. They were definitely spitting on the floor and doing who all knows what else. Can you imagine the things that went on in this saloon? All these newly rich guys getting drunk. I mean, here's just one typical day out of the oil field. Dang, these people look like a lot of fun. Look at this old wallpaper. It's pretty cool. Really a neat saloon. And then, of course, it's decorated with gushers, American flag. What's this? Another picture of a bunch of oil dudes. And, of course, like any saloon worth its salt, the old piano. Not only one, two pianos. Wow, so that's the saloon. Here's the old post office. Let's look inside the post office. Stamps. Money order window. Harding was the president at the time. Uh-oh, look in the post office. Wanted. James A. McQuarrie for stealing cattle. Call the sheriff. Wow, that's nuts. This was, I mean, the post office is where you came to get all the news, right? This would have been it. Wow, I was just reading on this informational board that there was actually 3 towns here. There was Spindletop, which was where all the craziness went down, the saloons and the brothels and all that. Then there was Gladys City, which is where like the respectable oilmen lived with their families. And then there was a town called South Africa, which is where they made the black and Mexican workers live. And it says here that the African American workers couldn't, because of segregation, couldn't even actually work on the drilling rigs. They had to just be teamsters, stevedores, and ditch diggers. But they still had their own little part of town here called South Africa. Very Texas. Very interesting. Here's a dry goods store. Let's see what's in here. This is like the old 5 and dime where you would go buy pretty much everything. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. I mean, we got colored thread for the ladies. Oh, wait a minute, ladies. You're in luck because we also have feathers today in all these different colors. So you can, you know, make your glamorous 1920s fashions and decorate them appropriately. Then there's also sewing machine, you know, stuff you might need. I'm not sure what. Oh, that's a thing for needles. Dang, that's a lot of needles. Old sewing machine table. You know, just this. This is apparently the ladies' side of the store. Let's see what's kind of boring. Let's see what's on the guys' side of the store. Oh, wow, look at all these pin cushions. Oh, I guess the whole dang store is for ladies. There is no guys' side. There's books. You'll go come here and buy a book. Let's see what these poor people had to read. Surrey of Eagle's Nest. Ooh, looks like a real page turner. Look, here's all the creepy old baby clothes. Can you imagine trying to raise kids in an oil boom town? It must have been very challenging. Beautiful quilt. Look at this. Vintage freestanding chalk hem marker. The chalk puffer deposits a thin line of chalk around the skirt at the desired height. Huh. More creepy baby clothes. Look at them old-timey spats or gaiters, whatever. I think those are spats. Suspenders, wow. Man, oh, here's where the ladies would come buy all their shoes. Dang, can you imagine wearing a pair of shoes like that with all those eyelets out here? Look, I can't even be bothered to wear shoes that have any Velcro or buttons or anything. I'm so lazy. Whew, they were hardier back then. Look at this old quilt. That's pretty cool. Wow, all these clothes. So this was the dry goods store. Huh. Oh, wait, one last creepy thing in here. Look at this. I mean, this thing is supposed to be celebrating a baby, birth of a new life. It looks like it's celebrating death and creepiness. I mean, it looks like if you look in here, there should be some evil demon. Nope, just some really creepy blankets. Wow. All right, that was the dry goods store. Very interesting. Ooh, I think this was the boarding house. Upstairs. It says rooms upstairs. But look, downstairs was the staple and fancy groceries. Cigars, you know, all the groceries that Boomtown would need. All these, you know, rough and tumble wildcatters living here. They still had to buy food every now and then, you know. They couldn't survive on whiskey alone. Look at that, you could buy bread, cookies, that's fancy. Wow, like butcher paper, candies, all the kinds of food you would need. Look at that creepy sign. Ask for Metzger's milk. That baby looks absolutely terrifying. I don't know if you can see, but yikes. Oh, look, the old checker game in the country store. I've heard about that. Apparently it's not just an urban legend, it really happened because they have it set up here. Oh, this must have been like the assay, well, not an assay office, it's not a mining town, I don't know. It's maybe a printer, or no, blacksmith, I don't know, there's some blacksmithing tools there. And then that looks like printing over there. Maybe it's just, like I said, a little bit of this, a little bit of that in here. Look at this cool cart. I guess it's like a little pony cart for a kid. I mean, like I said, or like you saw in that other room, there's kids that grew up in these boom towns. You know, so they had to have fun too. All right, now let's go up to the rooms. I have a feeling there might be rooms to rent, but it also might be where the brothel was, you know? But I guarantee there was a brothel here. Because all them guys, you know how that goes. Wow, this was the boarding house. Look how cool this is. Cute little parlor. Doesn't look brothel-y over here. Looks very genteel. There's even a little organ. I mean, no prostitute worth her salt would be in a place like this. But then again, why are the rooms decorated all girly if they were for wildcatters? Maybe they were. Well, I don't know. There's a cradle in this one. I'm not sure a prostitute would have her baby staying in the same room, but never know. There's the kitchen, bathtub. Huh. Well, it's hard to say. I mean, the sign here just says rooms. It doesn't say that it was a brothel, so I'll just leave that up to you guys to decide. All right, now here was the print shop, okay? Or the oil exchange. Beaumont oil exchange, what the sign says. Oh, wow, so it was kind of like the stock market. It would tell you what the price of oil that day was. Wow, that is so complex, but interesting. Can you imagine? Look at this. Holy cow. And then I guess over here is where like the boss guy sat. Can you imagine? Oh, this was also the courthouse, apparently. It says, you be the judge, put on the judge's robe, and step up to the podium. There's some judge robes, photo op. Well, I guess kind of everything went down in here. It was the courthouse, it was the print shop, and it was the oil exchange. I mean, they didn't have a lot of buildings here, so I guess they had to make do with what they had and double up, multitask. Wow, so interesting. These old print shops are cool. Uh-oh, high-class photographer. I might know a thing or two about those guys. So I guess these are just photos. Oh, camera equipment. What? Wow, look at all these old cameras from the early 1900s, 1909 even. This Kodak folding model. Holy cannoli. They're amazing. Wow, and then even older than those, look at these. Dang, wow. Oh, look at this freaking thing. I guess that's like a, man, I took photography in school, but I can't remember what that thing's called. You know what I'm talking about. You put the negative in there and then you expose the paper underneath it. Wow. Super interesting. More old cameras. Film canisters. Oh, and here's like a little spectroscope kind of a thing. You look at this old postcard of Beaumont through this, and it looks all 3D. I don't think it worked, but you get the idea. Boy, another print shop. They were big fans of print back here in the day. I guess it looks like they had some kind of newspaper printed here. Wow. Man, these were the days when the media weren't held with or in such disdain. You know, now you say you're a member of the media and people just automatically assume you're a liar or being paid off. But back in these days, the newspaper man was like a hero, right? Well, this place says confectionery, drugs, etc. Sounds like the kind of place for me. Doctor's office and milkshakes. Woo! My kind of joint. Oh, I see. So it was like the old kind of a drugstore where you sat at the soda fountain and had a root beer float or whatever they used to have. I don't know. This ice cream looks like it's seen better days, but look at this one. That looks good. I'll take one of those. I mean, you could, if you wanted, you could have pie. It looks like it's supposed to be pecan pie. But I don't know. You could also get this. Whatever that is. Wow, far. And then there was also a drugstore. Look at that. Creepy old hot water bottle. A harmless method for the relief of constipation. Yikes. And then back here in the back, it's like an office. Oh, wait a minute. I don't know what was going on back here, but it looks like a little bit of everything. Okay, maybe this was where they tested your vision. It's like a doctor's office, because that's obviously some kind of creepy exam table with a bedpan under it. That thing with the, I guess maybe that's an x-ray machine? Yikes. There's nothing more terrifying to me than old-timey medical equipment. This is just freaky. I'm getting out of here. It's giving me PTSD. All right, Livery. Livery and boarding stable. Remember, this was back just before cars really became a thing. So people still were driving these little Surrey with the fringe on the top. Remember that song from Oklahoma? That's the Surrey with the fringe on top. That's the stuff people were riding around in. Until, of course, oil was discovered, and that just made cars way easier than dealing with feeding a horse and riding in a Surrey. Anyway, you get the idea. I didn't really have time to go around to every single building here, but I went into all the interesting ones, exceptionally interesting ones. But I don't have much longer to spend here, so before I leave, I want to make sure I'm with a friend of mine who's in the oil business, and he wants me to take some photos of him. And then we also want to walk out there to the, I don't know if you can see that obelisk there. That's the exact site where the Spindletop strike was back then, when that thing started gushing 100 feet in the air for 8 straight days. That was right there. Isn't that crazy? And what a change it ushered in. I mean, you saw that old-fashioned Surrey. We went from that. I mean, this was just right after they started mass-producing cars, and now they had a way to run them. So no matter what you say about oil and gas or your feelings on them, it's, you know, it's a huge part of our life. You know, petroleum products, petroleum's in everything. Plastic, you know, these glasses are made out of it. This hat, this vest, my makeup. I'm probably wearing 5 pounds of oil products on my face. So it's a really interesting museum to come to understand the oil and petroleum age. Because who knows, you know, how much longer this stuff will be around.